Welcome back. This is a poem called Identity. We're going through this poem today and we're examining this question while we do it. How does society influence identity and experience? So we need to take a look. This is a word cloud that has everything from the poem identity in it. So we want to take a look and think what words here. I'm going to turn on my highlighter and go over to mustard yellow and find some of the things that I think relate to that question. So, admired. Often we tend to try to mimic those we admire. I like that. What else do I see here? And you're looking too. What else do I see here? Oh, everyone. Well, everyone is kind of a good synonym for society, so I might do that. Hmm. Unseen. Maybe that has something to do with it. Polanco, the last name. That can be identity, someone's name, whether they're tall, like Mr. Surface, or ugly, like Mr. Surface a little bit, right? I'd like you to highlight one other word in the color orange, please. Please take the time to do that now. Nice work. So, our identity, our self, or our character is shaped by the people around us. Analyze how the poet, where's that poet? Give him those red eyes. Give that poet some red eyes, real quick. Analyze how the poet contrasts the flower to the weed to explore identity and use evidence from the poem to support your answer. Take a moment and move those two red dots to the two most important words in the prompt. There we go. There we go. All right. Now, instead of me reading this poem on slide 5, I'm going to have someone else do it. We're going to follow along using this question mark, especially since we're using our notice and wonder chart today. So we might use that question mark to keep track of things that we're wondering about and things that we're noticing. So let's go ahead and let our special guest begin to read.
Identity by Julio Nova Polanco. Let them be as flowers, always watered, fed, guarded, admired, but harnessed to a pot of dirt. I'd rather be a tall, ugly weed, clinging on cliffs like an eagle, wind wavering above high, jagged rocks. To have broken through the surface of stone, to live, to feel exposed to the madness of the vast eternal sky. To be swayed by the breezes of an ancient sea, carrying my soul, my seed, beyond the mountains of time or into the abyss of the bizarre. I'd rather be unseen, and if then, shunned by everyone, than to be a pleasant smelling flower. Growing in clusters in the fertile valley, where they're praised, handled, and plucked by greedy human hands. I'd rather smell of musty, green stench than of sweet, fragrant lilac. If I could stand alone, strong and free, I'd rather be a tall, ugly weed.
Ooh, she did a great job. So, what I'd like us to start by doing is what is something that we are wondering about? We're going to start with the right side of the T chart. And I'd like you to drag the question mark to a part of this last stanza of the poem, to a part that you're wondering about. Take a moment to do that now. Nice work. Now, let's find another part that seems important. And let's look for something that we notice. I notice that. I notice that. We're going to use this light bulb, right, to find something important to notice. Please take the time to do that now with this last stanza. There we are. So let's go ahead and move along to how we might think about this question and analyze how the poet contrasts the flower to the weed to explore identity. Use evidence from the poem to support your answer. Well, whenever we've got a something telling us to do something, we need to take out that first verb, and I'll show you what I mean, and turn it into a statement. So it says to analyze. So we're going to get rid of how and the word analyze. Start with the poet contrasts the flower to the weed to explore identity. And then we might come up with three reasons. But first, I think this is a little too stretchy for my taste. So I'm going to stretch it all the way over here so we can fit it all up there. The poet contrasts the flower to the weed to explore identity when, and then you would go back and search for those parts of the poem where it has something to do with identity, something to do with who the person thinks they are. Well, what I'd like everyone to do, and to take maybe 5 minutes or so to do, is we're going to grab this check mark here. It says, what connects to today's learning target? Well, today's learning target is about figurative language and how it connects to identity. So, whenever we find something on the page that has something to do with identity, maybe like the word them versus me, right? I versus you, right? Different identity markers. We can put a check mark by it or on top of it. So go ahead and take the time to go through all the slides. And Mr. Surface, don't forget to put it on student mode now, to go ahead through all those slides and make sure that you've got the check mark next to words that signal identity. Go ahead and do that now. All right. Nice work. So you've probably found a lot of support, and you could put those three examples of support that would help you explore the contrast, right? Well, notice that they use pronouns like they, them, me, and I, right? They contrast those things. They contrast how weed, weeds are wild, flowers are not, right? And then also they use a lot of different places where you can find weeds. Weeds are in brave spaces, like cliff sides and stuff like that. So you can go ahead and find the support for that in the poem. You would put that there in your organizer. All you need to do for the closing is just put the thesis down there, and boom, you've got it. All right, and then you could write your TDA if it's time, if your teacher's telling you it's time to do that. And you can write it over here with your thesis and your three body paragraphs. Boom. Thanks for watching.